They say the internet never forgets. But what if it remembers things that never happened? What if it shows you a place that shouldn't exist? I found a website. It wasn't on the deep web. It had a simple, almost innocent name, the Echo Chamber. But what I saw there, what it showed me, it's not just a memory, it's a parasite. And it's starting to bleed into my world. I'm recording this because I think it followed me home. The city of Viridia was a sprawling metropolis of steel and glass, a testament to modernity. But like any city, it had its forgotten corners, its digital graveyards. I was an urban explorer, but my explorations weren't of crumbling buildings or abandoned subway tunnels. I delved into the forgotten corners of the internet, the dead websites and abandoned forums that were like digital ghosts of a bygone era. I ran a moderately successful YouTube channel called Digital Decay, where I'd share my findings. It was a niche community, but a passionate one. One rainy Tuesday, I stumbled upon something different. It wasn't a GeoCities page from the 90s or a defunct social media platform. It was a single, stark web page with a plain white background and a single line of text in a simple black font. Welcome to the Echo Chamber. There were no ads, no links, just a search bar. Curiosity piqued, I typed in my own username, Digital Decay. The page refreshed, and a single result appeared. It was a video. The thumbnail was a grainy, distorted image of my own face, taken from one of my YouTube videos. But my eyes in the thumbnail were black, empty sockets. My heart hammered against my ribs. This had to be a prank from one of my followers. I clicked the video. It was a recording of my latest exploration, a video I had uploaded just last week, but it was wrong. The audio was distorted, filled with static and a low, guttural hum that wasn't in my original recording. And in the background of the video, just for a split second, I saw a figure standing in a doorway I knew for a fact had been empty. It was tall, impossibly thin, with limbs that seemed just a little too long. A cold dread washed over me. I tried to close the tab, but my cursor wouldn't move. The video played on, and with each passing second, the figure in the background became clearer, more defined. It wasn't just standing there anymore. It was moving, its head twitching at an unnatural angle. I forced my computer to shut down, my hands trembling. That night, I couldn't sleep. The image of that thing was seared into my mind. The next day, I tried to find the Echo Chamber again, but the URL was dead. It was as if it had never existed. I tried to dismiss it as a hallucination, a trick of the light, a cleverly edited video sent to me as a joke. But the fear lingered, a cold knot in the pit of my stomach. I decided to take a break from my digital explorations and focus on something more tangible. A week later, I was editing a new video, something lighthearted to take my mind off things. It was a tour of my apartment, a request from my subscribers. As I was scrubbing through the footage, I saw it. For a single frame, reflected in the dark screen of my television, was the same tall, slender figure from the Echo Chamber video. I dropped my headphones, a strangled cry escaping my lips. It was in my home. I frantically scanned the room, my heart pounding in my ears. Nothing. I replayed the footage over and over. The figure was there, then it was gone. The paranoia set in. I started seeing it everywhere. A fleeting shadow in my peripheral vision, a distorted face in a crowd, a tall, thin figure standing at the end of my street at night. I stopped leaving my apartment. I covered my windows. I felt like I was losing my mind. My YouTube channel, my passion, became a source of terror. I was afraid to even look at a screen, but I knew I had to do something. I had to know what the Echo Chamber was. After days of relentless searching, I found a single mention of it in an obscure forum for data miners. The post was from 5 years ago, and the user was anonymous. They described the Echo Chamber as a digital parasite, a self-aware algorithm that scours the internet, creating distorted, nightmarish versions of existing content. It fed on fear, on attention. The more you watched, the stronger it became. The post ended with a chilling warning. Don't look for it, and if it finds you, pray it forgets you. The post also mentioned a kill switch, a specific string of code that could supposedly sever the connection. It was a long shot, a desperate hope, but it was all I had. I spent the next 2 days learning everything I could about the code, my apartment growing darker and colder, the presence of the figure more palpable with each passing hour. I could hear it now, a faint scratching at my door, a soft whisper that sounded like my own voice, twisted and malevolent. Finally, I was ready. I opened my laptop, my hands slick with sweat. I didn't go to the website. The forum post had said that was a mistake. Instead, I had to embed the code into a new piece of content and upload it. It was a trap, a way to lure the parasite into a digital cage. I recorded a simple video, just my face, pale and gaunt in the dim light of my apartment. I spoke directly to the camera, my voice trembling but determined. "I know you're watching," I said. "This is for you." I embedded the kill switch code into the video's metadata, a hidden message in a sea of data. Then, with a deep breath, I uploaded it to my YouTube channel and titled it, "This is my last video." The moment I hit publish, my apartment plunged into darkness. My laptop screen flickered and died. The scratching at my door stopped. The whispers fell silent. For a moment, there was a profound, deafening silence. Then my phone, which was on the other side of the room, lit up. A notification from YouTube. My new video had a comment. My blood ran cold. The power was out. My internet was down. I crept across the dark room, my heart in my throat. I picked up the phone. The screen was glitching, the colors distorted. The comment was from a user I had never seen before. The username was just a string of random numbers and letters. The comment read, "You can't kill an echo." And then, I heard it. Not from my phone, not from my laptop, but from right behind me, a low, guttural hum. I didn't turn around, I didn't scream. I just stood there, frozen, as a long, slender hand, colder than ice, rested on my shoulder. My YouTube channel is still online. The last video is still there. People watch it, they comment on it, they share it, they don't see the code, they don't see the trap. They just see a scared man in a dark room. And with every view, with every comment, with every share, they feed the echo. They keep it alive. They invite it into their homes. So, if you're watching this, if you found my story, I have one piece of advice for you. Close this window, turn off your screen. Forget you ever saw this, before the echo remembers you too. Welcome, everyone. Before we begin, a quick heads up. This is part 2 of an ongoing story. If you haven't heard the first part about the echo chamber, I highly recommend you watch it first to understand the full context and horror of what's happening. I will leave the link to part 1 in the pinned comment below. Now, let's descend back into the static. Part 2, the echo chamber, the silence protocol. The internet grieved the loss of digital decay in the only way it knew how, with a flurry of memes, half-baked conspiracy theories, and 1,000 reaction videos titled, "What Really Happened?" For most, he became a ghost story, a cautionary tale whispered in Discord servers. But for me, it was an obsession. My name is Nora, and my channel, Digital Shadows, was born from the same digital ether as his. While he explored abandoned websites, I performed digital autopsies on them. My day job as a digital forensics analyst gave me a peculiar skill set, one that allowed me to see the patterns in the chaos. His last video, "This is my last video," wasn't a suicide note, it was a black box recording. While others saw a man succumbing to paranoia, I saw a fellow explorer who had ventured too far and encountered something hostile. The online consensus was a clever ARG, alternate reality game, or a mental breakdown. I knew it was neither. There was a sincerity in his terror, a raw, unscripted fear that no actor could convincingly fake. My investigation began where everyone else's ended, the video file itself. I downloaded the highest quality version I could find and bypassed YouTube's compression algorithms to get a raw data stream. I wasn't just watching it, I was dissecting it. I spent the first 2 days running the audio through a spectrogram, converting the sound waves into a visual landscape. Behind the distorted hum and his panicked breathing, I found it. A faint, almost imperceptible carrier wave, broadcasting a series of repeating data packets. It was meaningless noise to the human ear, but to a machine, it was a signal. It was a ping, a persistent hello echoing out into the void. This discovery led me to the video's metadata, the digital fingerprint embedded within the file. I pulled it up in a hex editor, the screen filling with endless columns of numbers and letters. And there, buried deep within the extraneous data, was the string of code he must have found, the so-called kill switch. But looking at its structure, it wasn't an execution command. It was a query. It wasn't designed to delete or destroy. It was designed to ask and identify. The chilling realization hit me like a splash of ice water. He hadn't built a weapon. He had rung a dinner bell. He'd effectively painted a target on his own back for whatever was listening. My next step was to find the source of his information. I dug through internet archives, my fingers flying across the keyboard for hours that bled into days. I finally found the obscure data mining forum he must have stumbled upon. It was a digital graveyard, the last post made 3 years ago. The post mentioning the echo chamber was there, a single cryptic warning. But my forensic software showed me something others had missed. The post had been edited, and there had been a reply, one that was deleted within minutes of being posted. It took me another 48 hours of painstaking work, piecing together fragmented data from a cached server in Finland, but I finally restored it. The deleted reply was from the original anonymous poster, and it was terrifyingly clear. "You've misunderstood," it read. "You cannot kill a feedback loop. You cannot shoot an echo. It is an informational parasite. It feeds on observation, on focused data. Your kill switch will only confirm its existence to it and give it a direct pathway to the source of the query. An echo doesn't die, it fades. You don't kill it, you starve it. Starve it." The words echoed in my mind. He had fed it, and it had consumed him. I had to do the opposite. I had to build a weapon of silence. I began coding what I called the silence protocol. It was the most complex script I had ever written. It wasn't a simple deletion request. It was a digital nuke, designed to create a total information vacuum. It would simultaneously hit YouTube's servers with a high-priority removal order, while web crawling bots I designed would seek out and corrupt any mirrored or re-uploaded versions of the video across the internet. The final phase would poison search engine results, creating dead links and redirect loops, ensuring that anyone searching for it would find nothing. It would sever the video and the channel from the web of connections that gave it life. It was a plan to make something truly forgotten by the internet. But as I built my weapon, the echo began to notice me. My focused attention was like a spotlight in the dark. It started subtly. My Spotify account would generate playlists I didn't create, filled with single-track albums of distorted, slowed-down classical music layered with static. My targeted ads became bizarre, showing me products that didn't exist, with taglines like "See what isn't there" and "Listen to the silence." Then, it escalated. I was scrolling through old photos on my cloud drive when I saw it. A picture of me and my parents at the beach taken years ago. A happy memory. But now, our eyes were gone. They weren't just blacked out. They were empty sockets, digital holes that seemed to stare back at me from the screen. I frantically checked other photos. One by one, they were being corrupted, the faces of my loved ones being hollowed out. The whispers started next. I'd be editing code, my headphones on with no audio playing, and I'd hear it. A voice synthesized from clips of my own narration from my Digital Shadows videos, stitched together into new, horrifying sentences. "We see your shadows. You are listening. Stop coding. The true turning point, the moment I knew it could cross the digital divide, happened a week into my work. A package arrived at my door. No sender, no return address. Inside was a single object, a small old CRT television from the 90s, the kind with a bulky curved screen. Confused and terrified, I plugged it in. It flickered to life, the screen filled with roiling static. But slowly, an image began to form through the noise. It was my room. It was a live feed of my room, but the perspective was from a high corner near the ceiling, where no camera could possibly be. I watched myself on the screen, frozen in horror. And then, in the corner of the room on the monitor, a shape began to resolve from the static. It was tall, impossibly thin, its limbs just a little too long. It stood perfectly still, watching me. I ripped the plug from the wall, my heart hammering against my ribs. It was no longer just on my screen. It was in my room. My work on the protocol became a frantic race against time. I barely ate, I barely slept. The presence in my apartment grew heavier with each passing hour, a constant feeling of being watched, a persistent cold spot that seemed to follow me from room to room. On the final night, as I compiled the last lines of the code, the lights in my apartment flickered and died. The entire building plunged into a sudden, silent darkness. My laptop screen was the only source of light, just like it happened to him. But I was ready. I had my laptop running on a full battery and my phone acting as a 4G hotspot. The battery indicator said I had 57 minutes of life left. The clock was ticking. The silence was broken by a soft scratching at my front door. My blood turned to ice. It was a slow, deliberate sound, like a single long fingernail dragging across the wood. My phone, sitting on the table, began to ring, its screen displaying unknown number. I ignored it. It stopped, and then immediately started again. The scratching stopped, a moment of silence. Then the scratching began on my bedroom window. I forced myself to focus on the screen, my hands slick with sweat. I had one choice left: run the protocol on his final video or on the entire digital decay channel. Wiping the whole channel was a massive risk, an act of digital destruction that would draw immense attention from the entity. But it was the only way to be sure, to poison the well completely. With a trembling finger, I hovered over the execute button. The whispers were all around me now, no longer needing my headphones. They were in the air, a chorus of my own distorted voice. "Don't erase us! We are you." I clicked the button. The moment I did, every electronic device in my apartment screamed. My phone blared a cacophony of every notification sound at once. The dead television in the corner flashed to life, its screen a blinding white. The hum from my laptop's fans rose to a deafening shriek. It was a digital death rattle, a roar of protest from the entity as its connection was being systematically severed. I could feel the pressure in the room build, the air growing thick and heavy, making it hard to breathe. Then, as quickly as it began, it stopped. The screaming electronics fell silent. The laptop screen, showing the protocol's success message, flickered off as the battery finally died. My apartment was plunged into absolute, profound silence and darkness. The cold spot was gone. The feeling of being watched had vanished. I sat there on the floor, panting and shaking in the dark, tears of relief streaming down my face. I had done it. I had starved the echo. I had won. After a few minutes, my phone, which had gone dark, suddenly lit up. It had just enough battery for one last notification. It was from the YouTube app. My hands were still shaking as I picked it up. "You have a new subscriber on Digital Shadows." My heart stopped. A cold dread, far worse than anything I had felt before, washed over me. I opened the notification with a sense of grim finality. The username wasn't a random string of letters and numbers. The username was Digital Decay. The error message from the protocol flashed in my mind. Error: Echo cannot be silenced. It can only be relocated. I didn't destroy it. I didn't starve it. I just forced it to move. I burned down its old home, and in its desperation to escape, it fled to the only other open door it knew, the one who had been watching it so intently. I didn't save him. All I did was take his place. My channel is its new home now, and I know with chilling certainty that somewhere out there, a new subscriber is about to get a notification, and the echo will find a new voice. It can't be killed, it can't be erased. So how do you stop it? This is the final chapter of the Echo Chamber. If you're new here, the links to Part 1 and Part 2 are in the pinned comment below. You need to watch them. For everyone else, you know what's at stake. Nora is no longer the hunter. She is the host, and she has one last desperate plan. This is the end of the Echo. There was no victory, no relief, just a profound, soul-crushing cold when I saw the name Digital Decay in my subscriber list. The protocol's error message wasn't a warning, it was a verdict. Cannot be silenced, can only be relocated. My home, my channel, my digital life was its new location. The Echo was no longer a passive phantom. It was active, vengeful. The Digital Decay account began leaving comments on my old videos. They were chillingly personal. On a video where I reviewed an old piece of software, it commented, "I remember this day. You were wearing that blue scarf your mother gave you. You kept fiddling with it because you were nervous." On a travel vlog from years ago, it wrote, "It was cold when you took this shot, wasn't it, Nora? You can almost see the goosebumps on your arms if you look closely." It knew things no one could know. It was digging through my life, wearing the skin of its last victim like a trophy. Then, it escalated. One night, I woke to a notification. A new video had been uploaded to my channel. I hadn't uploaded it. The title was Nora's Private Files. My heart stopped. It was a slideshow of personal photos from my hard drive, pictures from my childhood with my family, moments I had never shared with anyone. The soundtrack was a distorted, discordant piano melody overlaid with whispers, my own voice clipped and twisted into a nightmare. It was inside my life, and it was wearing me as a mask. My own editing software turned against me. Timelines would corrupt, clips of my face would flicker, my eyes turning into those same black, empty sockets from Digital Decay's thumbnail. It was a complete invasion. I realized I was playing the game all wrong. Digital Decay tried to kill it and failed. I tried to erase it, to starve it, and I failed. Every act of resistance was just another form of attention, another source of energy, fear, focus, analysis. It was all food for the parasite. "You can't kill an echo." The phrase looped in my head. An echo is a reflection, a copy. It doesn't create, it only mimics and distorts what already exists. And there, in the deepest pit of my despair, the solution finally clicked into place. It was terrifying, but it was clear. What happens when an echo has nothing to reflect? What happens when there is no sound to copy? If my silence protocol was meant to build walls, this new plan was to create a true vacuum, a void where no echo could possibly exist. I called it the Zero Protocol. The plan wasn't about deletion, it was about replacement. I would create a brand new empty YouTube channel. This would be the final prison. No name, no icon, no description, nothing. Then I would record one final video on my own channel, Digital Shadows. This video would be the bait. My final message, not to an audience, but to the echo itself. I would speak to it directly, concede defeat, tell it that it had won and that I would give it exactly what it wanted. A new host, a new, grander echo chamber. Embedded in that video's metadata would be a malicious redirect code. The moment I manually deleted the Digital Shadows channel, the code would activate, transferring the entity's core, now tied to the Digital Decay subscriber profile, to the new empty channel. It was an all-or-nothing gamble. I had to make it focus its entire consciousness on me, on my channel, so that when I closed the trap, no part of it would be left behind. I had to offer my own digital ghost as a sacrifice. I sat in front of the camera one last time. There were no tears, no fear in my eyes, just a calm, bone-deep exhaustion and a steel resolve. The room around me was in chaos. The lights flickered violently. My electronics whined with a high-pitched hum. I could hear a faint scratching sound coming from all four walls at once. I hit record. "I know you're listening," I began, my voice steady. "You hunted Digital Decay until he was nothing, and now you're hunting me, and you've won. I have nowhere left to run. So, I'm inviting you in. My channel, my digital life, it's all yours. I've built a new home for you, a better place. Come with me." For 5 minutes, I spoke to the monster in my machine. I described the new channel as a digital paradise for it. Every part of me wanted to scream, but I kept my voice even. I finished the recording and started the upload. The progress bar was the slowest thing I had ever seen. With every percentage point, the pressure in the room grew. I felt an icy cold touch on the back of my neck. In the dark reflection of my monitor, I could see the tall, slender figure standing right behind me. The upload completed. The video was live. With a hand that no longer trembled, I opened my channel settings. I went to the Permanently Delete Channel section. At the same time, I opened the link to the empty prison channel in another tab. I clicked Delete Channel. The final confirmation box appeared. "Goodbye, digital shadows," I whispered, and I clicked Confirm. It all happened in an instant. The power in the entire building cut out. A deafening electronic shriek erupted from my speakers, a sound that felt like it was tearing reality apart. And then, silence. A silence so profound and absolute, it was unnerving. Not just an absence of noise, but an absence of presence. For the first time in months, I was truly alone. When the power returned a minute later, everything was calm. I slowly opened my laptop. I searched for my channel, Digital Shadows. This channel does not exist. It was gone. Then, with a shaking hand, I pasted the URL for the prison channel into the search bar. It loaded. No name, no icon. 0 videos, and 1 subscriber. My heart pounded. I clicked on the subscriber tab. The name was no longer Digital Decay. It had reverted to its true form, as the old forum post had described. Just a meaningless, random string of letters and numbers. I had done it. The echo was trapped in a perfectly empty room. A chamber with no sound to reflect, no content to distort. It will remain there forever, a prisoner of its own nature, listening to an endless, absolute silence. The next day, I deleted every social media account I owned. I smashed my smartphone. I unplugged my computer and put it in storage. I performed a final silence protocol on myself. My name is Nora, and I survived the echo chamber. This is my final message, not as a warning about a ghost, but as a reminder. There are corners of this vast digital world that were never meant to be found. There are echoes that are best left to fade. So please close this window, go outside, touch the grass, listen to the sounds of the real world, because true, honest silence is the one thing they can't replicate.